The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar leading up to the ITS World Congress in Hamburg. My name is Lisa Bach-Andersen. I lead communications and congresses and events for Ertico ITS Europe, and I will be your host today. I am delighted that you have joined the webinar and that you are with us for the next hour and a bit. Let me just give a little bit of background in terms of the webinar series for those of you who are joining for the first time. We have been running this series from April, covering the various topics of the Congress, and today is the last reveal. It is the last chance to learn a little bit about what awaits you in the near future, and also an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the program and meet some of our important partners. Let us have a quick look at the agenda. In a moment, I will hand over to Jakob Bangsgaard, who is our CEO at Ertico ITS Europe, who will give his welcome. And then I will be back with a couple of slides to give a bird's eye view of the Congress. And that information will follow because Harry Evers, CEO of ITS Hamburg, and Tobias, who is the key account manager, will give an update in terms of demos and technical tours, and also in terms of a super startup program that has been pulled together. And then we move to a couple of very important partners for us. We have Frank Försterling from Continental Automotive, who is Head of Government Liaison and Engagement Automotive Technologies, who will first give us an update. He's a very important partner to the Congress. You will then hear from another important partner, Unix Traffic, who is part of Siemens. Sebastian Alten, who is Head of Sales and Products, Interurban and Tolling System, will give a couple of examples on digitalization. And last but not least, we will hear from Aria Etamat, who is from Volkswagen, who is Senior Project Manager in the Volkswagen Group Innovation, and who will give an update on the super exciting project Elsi Pilots that have a whole range of activities to offer during the Congress. Before handing over, just very briefly, a couple of house rules. We are, or you are, all the attendees are in listening mode only, but you're very welcome to log your questions in the tool so that we can have a Q&A at the end of this webinar. You should also know that the webinar is recorded and that we will be using the recording to promote this in our communications channels. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Jakob, our CEO. Jakob, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and also a warm welcome from me to colleagues from around the world to this webinar. It's the last stint before the Hamburg event happening, and I think we're all looking so much forward to this event. I participated a couple of weeks ago in another event, the first event I participated in for 1.5 years, and with more than 20,000 participants. And it was really obvious that the innovation, the togetherness, the networking is so important in what we do. And I really had this great feeling of this coming back to us again. And this is why an event like the World Congress in Hamburg is so important for us. I'm sure that we all have this virtual fatigue, and we need to get back to the networking and to meeting new colleagues, meeting new partners. This is what I experienced in 2 weeks ago when I managed to meet participants that I wouldn't have met in a Teams call, and we also managed to sign new cooperation agreements, etc. So this is what we are so strong in the ITS community, to build together innovation by joining forces, and therefore coming together is so crucial in this concept. I would like just finally to thank the Ertico partners for giving all the support to making Hamburg a reality. I would also very much like to thank all the partners, the commercial partners that we have for Hamburg. You're going to meet some of them in this webinar. And last but not least, of course, the whole team in Hamburg for working so closely with us to making this a fantastic event. I already have a more or less full program in Hamburg, and I'm so much looking forward to meeting all of you, and so much looking forward to coming back to what we used to have in terms of networking and innovation. So enjoy the webinar, and then I will see you in Hamburg. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jakob, for that. Indeed, we really do look forward to seeing everybody in Hamburg. I think that is really the understatement of the day. It will really be fantastic to have real networking and interaction. Let me give just a couple of highlights now for the Congress. First of all, I wanted to highlight that we have the app up and running. You can find it when you search the ITS Congress, as you can see here to the right. This is really essential for you because it will help you get the most out of your week in Hamburg. Not only can you plan your program, but you can also book meetings in the B2B networking area. You can book a demonstration. And last but not least, please remember to register when you attend a session, because this way you can help us improve what needs to be improved, because it is important for us that you rate the sessions that you go to. That being said, a quick overview also on the high-level program and also the technical program. As you know, the technical program has close to 200 sessions, or actually precisely 200 sessions ready for you. And this slide shows how all these different sessions in a neat way cover the 6 topics of the Congress, which is exactly where we want it to be. So there is really ample opportunity for you to really hone in on what has your particular interest. Now going to the high-level program, this is a quick slide to show the speakers for the 3 plenary sessions that we have prepared for you. All the speakers are confirmed. It's a crucial part of the program, so there is no overlap with other sessions. So you really have the opportunity to listen in. We have a fantastic lineup of industry thought leaders and experts for you. Also, a couple of thoughts on the global forums. It is the first time that we really have such global forums that look at problems and solutions from a global perspective. We have, as you can see, first the MAS Forum, which follows the MAS Summit earlier in the morning, which is an important associated event organized by the MAS Alliance and the Finnish Ministry on invitation only. We also have the Freights and Ports Forum, and here the idea really is to have real discussions leading to concrete steps that we can follow up when we meet again in Los Angeles. More than that, I just wanted to highlight, we've had quite a few questions actually, whether the very important social events can take place as well. As Jakob said, it has been a while, and indeed the good news is that the social events will take place. We will have the quite famous ITS dinner on the Wednesday, although it will be divided up on a couple of different locations to adhere to the COVID rules in place. Last but not least, I also wanted to end by thanking our commercial partners. You see them here. Thank you for your support. It is a fantastic lineup. We have old friends and new friends, and I, for one, am looking very much forward to talking to you face to face after all the conversations we've had in the past many months. With that, I would like to hand over to Harry and Tobias from our host and partner in Hamburg, who will give now a little bit more input on the technical visits, the demonstrations, and the startups as already shared when I went through the agenda. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours, please.
Yes, thanks a lot, Lisa, for this introduction, and our presentation are really exciting now, and really confident that all these topics are really running well. We are working really hard, I think, over the whole day now, so we are in the final countdown to the ITS World Congress. On the first overview, it's really for the technical visit, from our point of view, a huge numbers of different technical visits are available. You see here some locations, not only in Hamburg located, but all over Germany as well. So the longest distance is located in Frankfurt for the traffic center of the German Highway Center, new one really located nearby the airport of Frankfurt, and a lot of other technical demonstrations here located in the area of Hamburg as well. So I think the most important point is more than 1,000 people are available and allowed to take place in this special technical visit activities. Next, please. Because the next point is quite sure that we have a lot of demonstrations, and Tobias will show in detail, more detail what happens, but we have put it together in these three areas, of course, located nearby the fairground and the CCH. It's exactly here addressed with number 1. On the other side, we have a lot of areas in Hamburg addressed as public roads, really in the public road surrounding. We are able to have some special demonstrations also for automatic driving. You will hear something more from Arian when you see the Elsi Pilot activities. And at the third point, we have addressed a special area, we called it Home Port, with some drone applications. Over the whole week, we will show you what's coming up with these drones applications and the real flight demonstrations. So at the end, we have more than 22 plus 5 additional demonstrations confirmed. And for this demonstrations, to really experience these demonstrations, we have about 1,000 slots that can be booked. And now I will switch over to Tobias to have some more details for these activities. Tobias.
Yes, thanks, Harry. Welcome also from my side. And yes, thanks for the next slide. Excuse please that this slide, in fact, has some German wording still in it. I actually didn't notice, but I think the key information here on this slide is on English. And what is said is that we will have 4 mobility transition demonstration tours. As some of you might be aware, the City of Hamburg has a very strong ITS agenda and also a very strong agenda on mobility transition. And we try with these tours to give you a holistic experience on all the projects that we as the City of Hamburg are currently running in our ITS strategy and in our mobility transition strategy. And so we have picked 4 key topics for us. One is digitizing urban traffic, which is mostly focused on automated and connected driving. And then we will have a tour which is mostly focused on ITS technology in logistics and also ITS technology in the port area of Hamburg. It's the Hamburg Logistics Experience Tour. Furthermore, we have Hamburg Sets the Pace Tour, which is about modern mass transit and also about mobility as a service projects in Hamburg. And last but not least, automated and connected driving for us is also about our future rail systems. So the future rail experience will be about modern rail systems and also automation and connectivity of rail. Next slide, please. And here I give you a short overview where these tours will take place, just to give you an impression that we really are, or we will really bring you into the city with these demonstrations. Our claim is experience future mobility now, and these tours will be all over the city, so you can experience Hamburg and you can experience our traffic systems in these tours. The tour on the left-hand side you currently see here, the big picture, is the first tour, the digitizing urban traffic, which is mostly focused on our test route for automated and connected driving, but also on our autonomous shuttle project HEAT in the city of Hamburg. Next slide, please. And I will not lose too many words on this because Arya is also in this call, so he will definitely speak more about the Elsi Pilot demonstration at the ITS World Congress. But just to give you a clear definition, we have dynamic demonstrations, apart of course from the tours I just showed you. These demonstrations do take place in the city as well, so there are several other demonstrations taking place. But we also have what we call static demonstrations, and these demonstrations will mostly take place at the Messe or even inside the Messe. We use the hall B2 as a demonstration hub, and you can experience the static demonstrations there, but you will also start for all other demonstrations there. So you will have to go to the registration. You register for the tours and for all demonstration via the app, and you will have a help desk. If you have any question on where to go, where to meet to go for the demonstrations, please go to hall B2. We have a dedicated help desk there, and everything will be explained there. Next slide, please. And last but not least, also a new topic for us, but very important as a port city and also as a hub for the aircraft industry. We also, of course, tackle the topic of urban air mobility, and we have another site. Harry just showed it on the map, which is called the Homeport Testing and Proving Ground for Unmanned Systems, and there we will show unmanned air and surface vehicle demonstrations. Next slide, please. Also, a very important topic for us, and I know for sure also for Ertico, a very important topic is strong integration of startups and of future industries at the ITS World Congress. And so at Hamburg, after Copenhagen, we will have again a dedicated area for startups. This time we have a total of 43 startups coming from 18 countries to Germany. The startup area is located in Hall B3. It's a dedicated zone, but the startups will all be listed as exhibitors as well. So you can do all the matchmakings, you can contact them, reach out to them via the startup area and via the app. Next slide, please. But apart from just being present, those 43 startups will also participate in a dedicated program, which is the startup program. Just to give you a few highlights of this program, it's actually on the one hand side, of course, pitch sessions. So we have a total of 4 batches that will pitch. You can see that on Tuesday we have 1 batch pitching, but also on Wednesday we have 2 batches, and on Thursday the 4th batch in the morning will pitch. And apart from these pitch sessions, we will also have some panel discussions and some matchmaking events at the startup area. There is a dedicated stage for that. And all these sessions will be moderated. It's a fantastic opportunity to get in contact with the startups and also to hear in like a very short presentation what they're actually doing and what is happening in the industry. So I can definitely recommend that. And what I can recommend even more is that on Thursday we will have a startup party in the evening or in the night. It's in a venue close to the Messehallen, and you can register as a Congress participant to the startup event, to the startup party. You need to pre-register because it's also a 2G event. So please register via the link. I think we will share the slides afterwards. But you can also find the startup party in the app under the tab social events. So yeah, you're all warmly invited to attend the startup party as well. And that's everything from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. Indeed, I hear that the startup party is always an interesting thing to join. So thank you very much for that. There is definitely ample opportunity to both follow the demonstrations and the technical visits, as well as the startup program. So thank you for this good overview. Let us now move to Frank from Continental. As I said, a very important partner for us. Frank, the floor is yours. You're going to talk about smart and autonomous. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lisa. It's an honor of being here. So a couple of days prior to the ITS World Congress, and I would like to use the opportunity to talk about what Continental plans to show at the ITS World Congress. In respect to that one, I can only quickly talk about, let's say, the history. Continental has now its anniversary of 150 years. That means we have been founded 150 years ago, and since that time, next slide please, we deal with the topic of mobility solutions, and we have lots of experience in that mobility technology. We stand for the driving safety, and we are pioneers in vehicle electronics as well as in connectivity and software. Now we move ahead towards the smart and autonomous mobility solutions because we see that it saves lives and increases sustainability, efficiency, and the quality of life for everyone. So we would like to unleash the full potential of that kind of smart mobility solutions for everyone's benefit. And that's the reason why we decided to be present at the ITS World Congress and to show what we are currently working on and to go in accordance with the motto of the ITS World Congress, experience future mobility now. So that means what you will see, a majority of activities are already somehow deployed or close to the deployment into the market. So next slide, please. One of our exhibition streams we would like to present at the ITS World Congress is the role of autonomous mobility. Here we would like to give a comprehensive overview of what is Continental doing in that direction. Two major focus points of our presentations at the booth and in the city of Hamburg is on the one side the on-demand shuttle service. That on-demand shuttle service really deals with the next generation of autonomous driving. The shuttle service is not driving predefined lanes, but drives the lanes on demand. You can see it in Bergedorf. It's in south of the city of Hamburg. It's a joint activity between Continental and the national platform Future of Mobility, and lots of partners who are also involved. The automated valet parking, level 2 or type 2, this the integration of the infrastructure orchestrated maneuvering is one of the other topics we would like to show within the framework of autonomous mobility. Another exhibition stream we would like to show is more related towards the enabling technologies for smart mobility. One of those activities is related to the digital access solutions, which turns the smartphone into the vehicle key. That's very crucial based on our shared mobility activities, which we see all over the world, whether it's shared vehicle sharing, car rentals, or whether it's related to commercial fleet operators. So it's a key technology in the near future. Another crucial topic in terms of enabling technology is the low latency based cloud communication. So we have a couple of applications which we will present at the ITS World Congress, for example, vulnerable root user protection. And they do require a really low latency based communication network. And for that purpose, we have a very strong collaboration with Deutsche Telekom and as well as with Telefonica, which provided a 5G based network with the so-called MEC framework. And we show how does it work and how we can achieve low latency with respect to the application part like vulnerable user protection. Next slide, please. So the next stream is related to smart city mobility, where we do apply that kind of enabling technology. We will show on the one side the intelligent intersection approach, and on the other side we also combine it with the protection of vulnerable road users, which help us to save lives for everybody in the city. But especially we try also to show demonstrators and solutions to protect the lives, especially for cyclists and pedestrians. So that means for the vulnerable road users. We have here on the one side an overview of how does it work, and we also have a demonstrator in the city at the so-called tough area, where you can see the live behavior of the different people in terms of vulnerable user protection. Furthermore, we go for a digital services platform, which brings together the multimodal requirements of different modes of transportation, including future autonomous mobility. So regardless of that vehicle type, that platform makes your mobility requirements easier and helps you to move much faster and more reliant from point A to point B. We also have it deployed in certain regions of the world, especially in Indonesia, and we will show how does it work in life. All together, that brings us also to the situation that we integrate transport information platform, which collects the different data, especially data from the vehicles, but also additional data, in order to create better traffic control and provide management advisory situations. That's very important for the route guidance as well as for the urban planning, and we will see it also live. The next slide, please. In addition to that one, we also show the fleet management services, which is especially operational today for trucks. And it is applied for the digital tachograph on the one side and for other solutions in the truck environment, truck business. We combine different brands and portfolio elements of Continental. The one which is called VDO, the other one Zona, especially related to North America. And we combine it as well with the Continental tires. So the tires business is one of the historically core businesses of Continental. It's also going more and more smart, and we will show how the tire pressure monitoring system helps you to improve your business due to the fact that you all the time know exactly what is the situation with the tires in your vehicle fleet. Another direction will be the confined area mobility solutions, where again we show how the vulnerable road user protection, especially in urban rail traffic, helps you to make the traffic safer. And we combine it furthermore with activities which are related to restricted mobility areas, like for example the port mobility in the city of Singapore, where we have an up and running solution, and we can show how does it work and what are the requirements behind and what are the problems behind we have to solve. Next slide, please. Last but not least, in terms of an exhibition stream, we have the different robotics solutions also at our booth, which will be presented. On this one side, we have the autonomous mobile robots, which are more related to the highly and autonomous flexibility within the plant environments. We combine it also with delivery robots like the courier, which navigates on sidewalks and brings the parcels 24 hours, 7 days a week to the customers at home. The same platform will be used for the Continental robot, which is a modular agriculture robot, which helps to improve and increase the performance and efficiency in the agriculture environment. All those different robots have to be managed via a fleet management solution, a dedicated one which is related to transportation of goods and similar things. And we call it here MAFCOM, and we will show also how that kind of solution will work. Next slide, please. That's pretty much all at our booth at Continental. And you can find us in the hall B5 at the booth number 410. And we are more than happy to welcome you at our booth. And in terms you are interested to have a dedicated appointment, please scan that QR code here on the left side, and then you can make an appointment at any time. We are really happy to welcome you at our booth. So thank you very much. That's a high-level overview about what you can see from Continental. And I would like to turn back to Lisa.
Thank you so much, Frank. There is a lot of interesting things indeed to see at the Congress with Continental. Let's move on to Unix traffic and Sebastian, who will talk about 2 examples for digitalization. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lisa. The last reveal from my side for this webinar are 2 selected examples for digitalization. Among many others, you will be able to see on the Unix booth. So let's take the first one, electronic tolling. Electronic tolling for the frequent visitors of the World Congress has been around for a long time, and many from you have seen the developments there. But if you ask the question, is it really digital already? Having a look at the installations today of electronic tolling, both for cities and for road networks, we see a lot of cameras or even toll plazas around to perform the actual tolling. On the other hand, for the complete networks, we still see in-vehicle devices as well as many roadside devices around. So it's hard to say it's really digital yet. But how should it be today? How could it be? Well, I would expect as a user to get the information, about the tolling tariffs. Maybe they are dynamic because electronic tolling is a very powerful lever for traffic management. So it makes sense to have it dynamically. But as a user, I need the information ahead of time so I can make a good decision about whether to take my car or to take the alternatives like public transport. After I made up my decision, I want it to be really easy to actually pay the charge. And of course, I also want to use my smartphone for this. So this is how I would do in public transport, and this is what I expect to do with tolling as well. So I buy the ticket, which, by the way, can be time-based, for example, for 2 hours or a day, or it could be distance-based, per kilometer, for example. So I just purchase it with one button, and then I drive. Of course, nobody would prevent me from getting on the road network without having paid. So what we need is enforcement. And I would expect enforcement for me as a user to be absolutely non-intrusive and free flow. So ideally, I wouldn't even notice it. So number plate based enforcement with a very small, very light hardware footprint would be the appropriate measure here. And then I enjoy the benefits of actually being told, except the payment, of course, but I do get something in return that might be better traffic flow or finding the parking place in time. So if you're interested in this solution, then please be invited to visit us, to visit the UNEX booth. And if you want to discuss about the impacts and the benefits of tolling itself, please also be invited to our session on Wednesday. That's for the first example. Let's move on to the second example of digitalization, which is planning and building. If you look at planning and building, like infrastructure building, there definitely is no room for mistakes. There's no room for try and error. You cannot build a road without having a concrete plan, or a tunnel in particular. And the same way, if you build it, you want to make sure that the effects in the end are really on the traffic as you expected. So how can we do this in the digital world? We take a digital twin. Many of you have heard it. What we see from the ITS perspective as a digital twin is the following. First, and this is already used in the building industry and much in the tunnel industry, the building information models, where you have all the 3D data and construction data, 3D models, etc., in a digital twin. So you have applications like asset management or design verification already. But now for the ITS part, the next step in the evolvement would be the dynamic twin. So we link this up to our traffic management systems and have the interaction from the traffic management systems into the digital world. This provides us application like demonstrations and proof of concepts, but also acceptance testing or even maintenance training. But in the end, what we all do it for is the traffic. So let's move on to a performance digital twin, where we add also the traffic, which can be real traffic, by the way, or a simulation. So we link it up with simulation software. And to make it nice and to really experience it, we can use technology like virtual or augmented reality to really make it tangible. So if you're curious and you really want to experience a digital twin, including traffic, please stop by at our booth and experience it in virtual reality. Be a part of a tunnel nearby Hamburg, which is not yet fully completed, but you will be able to look into this, to walk into this, to have it tangible and to see the traffic. And also, if you want to discuss about digital twins and learn more about the different aspects, please be invited to our session. This is on Thursday. It's a breakfast session and you have to sign up, but there are very many seats left the last time I checked, so you should be quick if you want to visit. These were my two reveals. Thank you very much, Lisa. I'm handing over to you again.
Thank you very much. So virtual reality opportunity there, very exciting. Thank you very much for this insightful overview of what people can expect. Let's now move to the last speaker, Arya Etemat, and you will be presenting the Elsi Pilot, which is an associated event that will take place at the Congress. So, Arya, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for the invitation. Yes, I would like to just speak a bit about Elsi Pilot. This is a large-scale project. It's about testing automated driving on real roads. So we think that the automated driving, the functions we have developed have reached a maturity level that we can really leave the proving ground and test them on the public road, on normal roads. This is what we have been doing during the last 4 years. The project has started in 2017, and we have done a lot of tests on public roads. We have created some nice results that we would like to share with you during the ITS World Congress. Next slide, please. In a nutshell, the project idea was to have 1,000 participants driving in our 100 vehicles, automated vehicles for different applications in 10 different countries. This is all in one slide. But if we want to really dig in what the project has created, then we need to spend a bit more time. I would like just to highlight a few topics here today and invite you to visit us during the ITS World Congress. Next slide, please. This is just an overview of our applications we have been testing during the last 4 years. First of all, on the left-hand side, this is a traffic jam application, SAE level 3. So for those who are involved in this discussion with different levels, level 0 is if the driver is driving the vehicle without any support, and as long as levels are increasing, then you have more responsibility with the vehicle. You transfer the control to the vehicle. Level 3 is the level that the vehicle drives and manages many of dynamic driving tasks, but the driver is the fallback, the final fallback if something goes wrong or if the vehicle cannot manage the situation. This is the definition, and this was the idea of putting the project together and testing all the systems on public roads. The motorway application, the traffic jam is up to 60 kilometers per hour. The motorway application was designed to drive up to 130 kilometers on motorways. Then we had parking applications, 2 different ones. One is level 4, and the other one is just pulling out and in the vehicle from the parking lots. Then we had the major effort on urban driving, automated urban driving, and this is what you can also experience in Hamburg, just in the metropolitan area of the city. So if you go to the next slide, you will see that this project was complex, and the complexity required also to have many partners in the project, many players, and especially many global players. If you look at the vehicle manufacturers who have been involved, this is for us, for the automotive industry, also the first time that 13 vehicle manufacturers were involved in one single project. So this is, we will continue. There is a follow-on project, but this was the first and largest in the area. The European Commission has supported the project with the largest funding I could remember. This is 36 million euros. The project has a budget of 70 million euros. So this is then just to understand the dimensions. As you can see, we have many other partners, not only vehicle manufacturers, but also insurance companies and authorities and FIA as the user group. Next slide, please. We have been running our tests in different countries. As you can see, where, of course, our vehicle manufacturers and vehicle owners were based. But the testing was not limited to those countries. We have done also several cross-border testing, and we have seen what is needed, especially in Europe, to be implemented in order to harmonize the testing in different countries in Europe. This is also one of the examples and lessons learned from the project that we would like to share with everyone. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is our invitation. The L3 Pilot, as you could see on the slides Harry showed at the beginning, is a major partner for the ITS World Congress this year. We have dedicated presentations on our findings, and what you see in the background is one of our vehicles that is driving in the city of Hamburg. Next slide, please. So the presentations are threefold. One are dynamic demonstrations inside the city and on motorway. Then we have an exhibition. I think this is the largest exhibition area of the ITS in Hall B3, and a dedicated conference. Next slide, please. I will have just, maybe the dynamic demonstrations from Monday to Friday. So we will provide several hundred slots for experiencing the driving demonstrations. Next slide. So the first one is a tour through the city of Hamburg. You will experience the communication with the traffic light. You will see how the vehicle manages to take left and right turns at crossings and come back again to the venue. This is one of the demonstrations we start directly from Hall B2. Next slide, please. The second group of dynamic demonstrations are prepared for the motorway. So there are two different routes we have in mind, and we have several vehicles that you can experience driving on motorways. So this is again also for the whole week, and you need to be transferred to the point where you can start the demonstration. Yeah, we are glad to welcome you there too. So next slide. The exhibition area also for the whole week. If you go to the next slide, so you will see many of our vehicles. These are really our workhorses that we had in the field for almost 2 years. We will show them and explain what are the differences between the approaches the vehicle owners have prepared. And we will also show you what we have done with the collected data and what kind of results we could derive from the data. So there are many posters prepared with our results, with our key results, and they will be on display. We will be there with a big team. This is the largest we have used for a presentation. There are 150 staff members there and experts. Of course, you can approach them and ask questions if you want. Next slide. That should be about the conference. Yes, if you go to the next one, on the Wednesday and Thursday, October 13th and 14th, we have 2 full days of dedicated presentations. In total, 25 presentations about the findings in our project. At the beginning, an opening presentation with the European Commission, with UCAR, and with the key results of the project, followed by many detailed presentations about what we have done during the last 4 years. So you're all invited. We are looking forward to seeing you there, and this is from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is a very impressive project indeed, both in terms of all the diverse participants, but also in terms of all the activities that you managed to carry out. So thank you very much for this. Yeah. May I remind our participants that you're more than welcome to ask questions, also if they come to you now. We will now open the Q&A, and I'm looking here at the list. I would like to start with a question for Harry and Tobias. There is a question here around how can I get to the various demonstrations and tech visits, and there is a specific question linked to that. Is there a QR code that goes directly to the demo registration per demo? Please, Tobias and Harry.
Yes, so the transport is organized by us. So we will, so by the Congress team. So we will use shuttles to bring you to those demonstrations that are not directly at the messe. If you register via the application, it's not open yet, the registration for the demonstrations. But if you register via the application for a demonstration, you will see specific information on where you need to be in order to take the shuttle to the demonstration if it is outside of the venue. So no worries about that. In fact, it is even not allowed to go directly to the demonstration site on your own. So you must go with the shuttle that we provide, and those shuttles all start from the exhibition. That's for hygienic reasons. The other question with the QR code, in fact, I need to check. I think our preferred way is just to use the application here as well. So please go to the application. As soon as the window opens where you can book demonstrations, we will let you know. And then you have a specific tab, a specific section where you can book the demonstrations and book your slot.
Yes, and in addition, the demonstration is also the technical tours will start at the fairground, exactly B2, and you will then at the end will be there again, so you can then end with the demonstration exactly also at the fairground. And all the demonstrations and tours we offered and we've shown to you are really with a moderator on the bus, on the moderation tour, and you will get also a digital iPad to make sure that all the information are translated, so you can really follow the whole demonstration tours with the actual digital assistant.
Okay, thank you very much for this clarification. I hope that answers the questions. Then we have a question for Sebastian, a question regarding tolling. You know, there are lots of obvious advantages, but what about the data privacy when using the app? Does it track all users? We cannot hear you. You just have to unmute.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so for data privacy regarding the tolling, well, on the side of the user, if you buy a ticket, for example, that for a time-based scheme, that would be just like you buy a ticket for a bus, for example. And for the distance-based scheme, there would be some way to track the distance you travel, yeah? But this can be anonymized depending on the legislation. For the enforcement part, some cameras are needed, yes, but also there are ways to do this that you do not track the number plates of people who have paid, and this in the end would be the goal. Yeah? So it's still up to the design, which can be adjusted to the local legislation.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Then we have a question for Arya. Arya, what are the major challenges for testing automated driving in Europe?
Yeah, this is a good question and lessons learned from the L3 pilot project. So let's start with the easiest one, not for the real technical ones. Of course, tons of technical challenges to make sure that your system behaves the way you have designed it. But the interesting part for us was testing our vehicles in different countries, the same vehicle, with the same vehicle driving from one country to the other. That was much more complex than what we thought, because you need the approval from each and every country if you want to do so. And this is far from being harmonized in Europe. This is one of the lessons learned, and we have spent a lot of time in discussion with the authorities in different countries. And we have taken that as something we need to address. I don't know if we can solve it, but we need to address in the follow-on project, which is the High Drive project. So it is a complex situation, and I hope we can move forward to that so that testing in future is easier.
Okay, thank you very much, Arya. Then we have a question here for Frank. Does Continental participate in live demos during the Congress? And if yes, which ones and where are they placed?
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, we do participate in live demos. Yes, so the one live demo is with respect to the shuttle service. That shuttle service, as I mentioned, will happen in Bergedorf. It's you can reach Bergedorf by train. And there's also a tour organized, which shows you on the one side the autonomous train arriving, and then afterwards you have a chance to go to the shuttle service. and you can experience the on-demand service of the shuttle in Bergedorf. Another live demo is related to vulnerable road user protection. We call it Digital Guardian Angel, and that is along the TAF area, and you can experience that kind of demo once you attend the Digitizing Urban Traffic Tour, which will be organized. On the one side. On the other side, you also can go to the so-called Node 94 at the TAF area. There's a joint activity between Continental, T-Systems, as well as Vitronic, in order to see how the vulnerable road user protection works in real life. Nonetheless, also at the booth, we have a live connectivity to the different areas of the TAF lanes, so that you can also experience at our booth, due to the fact that this is also all 5G based. So that means there's a real low latency in place so that you can experience it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Frank. Then we have another question for Harry here. How big a part does international cooperation play in the Congress, Harry? Can you name a couple of key aspects?
Yeah, so back again. A special role, of course, because all these partners are international. When you see our sponsors coming to the Congress, they are also with international relation. And I think also we have a lot of already registered partners from all over the world, besides the pandemic situation. But I think it's quite clear that we have make sure that the 2G option is a more safely Congress with high quality, and we can have the network activities in a real normal situation again. And so I'm quite happy that we have really makes this decision quite clear. And it's also the option that we can do this because in the Hamburg area, we are able to do it first, I think, all over Europe to make this decision possible. So from this point of view, I'm quite happy that we have such a lot of partners coming all over the world just now. And we see also in the last few days, and I think we have 1 week more, that the acceptance and the interest is really huge. So that's a quite important point from my side.
Okay, very well, thank you. We also have a question for Sebastian. You mentioned the digital twin. Here is a question about implementation. Has it already been implemented somewhere?
Oh yes, this has been, we are seeing the trend to digital twins upcoming in projects, starting from the building information models, which come from the building industries. And the first project we implemented a digital twin for was the Koningstunnel in the Netherlands. Okay.
All right. Very interesting. I am looking down here. Arya, here's a question around the results. What are actually the key results of the L3 pilot project at this stage?
Yeah, there are many different activities we have supported, and of course, as you can imagine, 4 years and almost 300 people involved in the project. There are many results we could present. Maybe the most important one for the automotive industry is a so-called code of practice for the development of automated driving functions. So this is like a cookbook, like a list of guidelines how to develop functions. And we have been working on the topic in the previous project from the legal aspects point of view, and we could finalize it during the last 4 years, putting everything together, having so many vehicle manufacturers inside the project. And this has been really a few days ago finalized. We will have also hard copies of that document, 200 pages. And I said in total 7 years of work that will be then introduced during the ITS World Congress for the very first time. This is unique in the world.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Arya. There's another question here for Frank. You mentioned at some point the share car, hourly car rental service in Indonesia, where you have an all-in-one solution for users and operators. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Not really. So that means that the system is in operations, has been in operation since 2 years, and so it works very well. So that means you can normally book, run a reservation, then book the vehicle, then drive the vehicle. Afterwards, you also get, let's say, of course, a menu so that you know how to return the vehicle, where to return the vehicle. And you get also the bill, so that means it's all digitalized, and you have it, let's say, then visible at your smartphone. So that kind of tour we will show at the Congress, and so that you can get much more details during the Congress. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Frank. Then we have actually another question for you, Arya. Is V2X technology used? And if yes, how?
Yes, this is used in our vehicles, especially for vehicle to infrastructure communication, for vehicle to traffic light communication. This is what you will see and experience in Hamburg, the phases of traffic lights and which arms of the intersection is now green or red is then transmitted to the vehicle. In Hamburg, we receive also a map from the whole intersection. This is a bit more advanced than just simply transferring the messages and the phases of the traffic light to the vehicle. This is one application that you will see. There are other approaches for talking to the parking garage infrastructure and so on, but this is not what we are showing in Hamburg. So in Hamburg, you would see the traffic light communication.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Then there is a question on the app, which I can take. The question is around where do I communicate my questions if I have additional questions on the use of the app. And there is a address here, ITS Hamburg 2021, in one word, at mailcongress in one word .artico.com. So I repeat, ITS Hamburg 2021 at mailcongress in one word .artico.com. Tobias and Harry, there is a question more here for you. Somebody would like to know a little bit more about the matchmaking between startups and other companies. What are the opportunities? Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, is the entry to the startup area free for everyone? Free to everyone?
Yeah, of course. So the startup area is part of the exhibition. So if you have access to the Congress, you can visit the startup area without any extra cost. No problem about that. It is in hall B3. You won't miss it. It's quite a huge area, in fact. About the matchmaking, we have several opportunities to match with the startups or to meet with the startup. The first one is already during the welcome reception, which will follow the opening on Monday in the afternoon. So from 6 to 7, just after the opening closes and everyone goes to the exhibition for the first time, we will also have some very easy matchmaking. Just meet with the startups. There will be some drinks. No pitching, no extra speeches or something, just to meet them and just to get in contact. Later in the week, on Tuesday and on Thursday, there are some matchmaking events specifically dedicated to the startup evolution, so how they can scale up, how they can participate in EU-funded projects, for example. So this is more of a specific matchmaking. And if you're interested in these events, to visit these events, you can. Of course, it's also free to visit. It will be part of the startup stage in B3. And you can find all of these events also in the startup program in the app.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Then there is a question for me, I guess. Will we have an almost normal Congress? And yes, I believe the answer is actually yes, we will have an almost normal Congress because we have been allowed to do a 2G Congress. There are quite a number of the normal regulations that you would have to adhere to under a 3G Congress that fall. So indeed, what is really exciting about the Congress is that we will have this opportunity for networking and interaction, which is essential and which we have been missing out on for so long. And this will be the case not only in all the sessions and in the exhibitions and demonstrations, but also in the social events, as I mentioned. So the answer is yes. I think it will be really as close as possible to normal reality as we could at all have hoped for. There is one more question for you, Arya, please. You say that you have collected data and you have some interesting results that you will be sharing. Could you give a preview on one interesting results that you could share already now?
Yes, we have been checking the data that we have collected in order also to see what is then the effect of automated driving on the traffic, on traffic safety, or on traffic efficiency, and if the cost-benefit ratio of that is the social cost-benefit ratio is greater than 1 or not. And just to summarize it and highlight it, yes, that could be much greater than 1. So it means the implementation of automated driving is something we should follow.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that preview. I hope that answers the question. Then we have a question for Sebastian here. Unix Traffic is a new name for Siemens. Is this part of a new strategic direction? Sebastian, please.
So now unmuted. Well, you're happily invited to visit us at the booth and have the discussion. Right now, Unix Traffic is the what you formerly have known as Siemens Intelligent Traffic Systems. But we are still a 100% Siemens-owned company at the moment.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Then just a question for Frank. When you talk about smart and autonomous mobility solution, you talk about cloud computing solutions as well. Can you talk a little bit more about why cloud, what is it that cloud communications solutions offer more in terms of smarter and safer, real time?
I wouldn't say that it does offer more, but nonetheless, the technology is evolving. Everybody talks about V2X technology, and we have different options to deploy and implement V2X technology. One of those options is also, let's call it V2 cloud to vehicle to cloud to vehicle, or traffic participant to cloud to traffic participant. That gets possible now due to the fact that we move towards the next generation of telecom networks like 4G, 5G, and within that framework to the so-called multi-access edge computing. So it's heavily considered in the 5GA, which provides a link between the telecom industry and the automotive industry. And we believe that that kind of technology is one of the alternatives or add-ons to deploy certain low latency oriented applications quite soon in the environment of the city and all over the world. That means in certain directions, it might be even a faster deployment strategy due to the fact that there is not an urgent need to deploy, let's say, hardware installations at all intersections. We have heard today by Sebastian about the digital twins, yeah. So, and once you apply a kind of cloud-based approach, you also have the chance to virtualize certain hardware which has to be installed otherwise. And with respect to that one, there are different options to make the traffic in the cities and the mobility safer and more reliable. And the cloud-based approach is one part of the overall storyline. And for that reason, we also offer solutions in both directions. Yeah? So that means based on the infrastructure and based on the cloud approach. And we have a couple of comparisons on that one, and we are more than happy to explain it in detail during the ITS World Congress.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that clarification, Frank. And then we have a last question here from somebody who seems to know that Jakob, our CEO, has indeed been part of these congresses for many, many years. Jakob, here's a question for you. How has the ITS Congress grown and evolved over the years? Can you perhaps highlight a couple of elements?
Yeah, I've been involved for 20 years in the ITS Congress. I think that what we saw, one obvious thing that has been developing is that we have been going from presenting technologies to presenting the deployment of these technologies in applications and mobility services. So this is not just the Congress, it's our whole business that has been developing from focusing on the technology to today focusing on the services. So this is also what we will see in Hamburg, that mobility as a service, end user services is something that will have a lot of focus, and we will see the deployment of technologies, not the technologies, so not so much the focus on the technology itself, but the way it's used in applications and in services. So this is something that has changed in our mobility sector and in ITS as such, where we in the old days were very focused on tolling systems and the technologies where we are now moving into the services.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much, Jakob. And with that, I will end the webinar of today by thanking all our speakers for taking the time to be with us today. And again, thank you for all of you who have supported us in the Congress this year. And also thank you to those who have been listening in today and asking questions. We all look forward to seeing you well, very shortly. It's around the corner, the Congress. So safe travels and see you in Hamburg. And thank you very much for now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.